Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to another adventure into reality. Come on in, get in the chat room, get yourself seated and relaxed. Today I will be taking calls in just a little bit, so hang on tight for those that are in the call room. We will be taking calls later. I want to remind everyone we're coming up to Halloween, a time when the spirits are different. The weaves of energy and the backgrounds are different. No matter what faith or belief system you're is, it is autumn in those areas. One side of the world is one energy, other side of the world is another energy. There is a union and communion within that expression. For it is thin on this side and thick on the other, thick on the other and thin on this side. We are all interspersed, interwoven, and interconnected to all aspects of this planet. To think anything otherwise is childish, child's play, into the den of inequity that can be this world. So now I'm going to take this moment to raise frequency, to a reminder of how this year began. 2017 began the year of the Union and Communion Consciousness Strike. The alchemical equity union and communion consciousness strike, reclaiming the carrot and stick. I'm going to read this beginning to end, and I'm going to dispel all of this excess energy that is building up around this industry, this presentation. I'm doing this for a number of reasons. There's an unseen audience that is many times larger than a seen audience. For each one of you, bring your 7 past generations of ancestors and your 7 future generation ancestors on your very coat sleeves. Many of you are unaware of how the ancestral energy realms work, and it's why you come to shows like this. So take this presentation, this show, as a way of learning how to deal with the ancestors. There are times we must gather like a big block party, all of the ancestors, and make statements to them so they understand our intentions at the greatest and most finest of details. Then there are other ancestors who do not want your best in mind. They want their way, and only their way, as the only way. And as long as we allow them to dominate our way as the only way, as long as we acquiesce to their frequency of harm and deconstruction of what is natural and organic, so we believe in lies, dumb down, we cannot allow that to happen if we are conscious application of the sacred beings using our inner discipline. We must learn to take action. Action is multidimensional, multifunctional, fully capable beings who know how to make actions within their timeline, their spherical understanding of time, their limited understanding of time. You make statements that create rules, borders, policies, and procedures to your seen and unseen world. And when you allow something to cross that border, break a rule, it is your responsibility to have consequences and actions. Who is responsible for you? Only you. The way the system works here, as long as you give no consent, it's consent. That is how easy it is to trap in whatever belief ideological system is projected at you. Simply allowing the commercial to play in the background has allowed it into your reality. That is the way the system of domination and control works. So this message is to all the ancestors of all people listening, past, present, and future. This is to all those ancestors in the systems of domination and control, past, present, and future, in every timeline, galaxy, and dimension. And for those of you listening here live now, echo this teaching. To every degree of separation your awareness is on. I will go to 27,000 degrees of separation from this I am being, with the intention of reaching out to every line of light creation, to take this message of equity, union and communion consciousness strike. I, in the ever-present moment of now, choose to form a multi-layered spiritual cord of alchemical equity for the expressed purpose of discooperating with any forced evolutionary service in any dimension, time stream, galaxy, or universe in which I operate as a signature frequency of light. I amplify my consciousness strike field, denying service to all forced evolutionary systems that are not a signature frequency match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. I open the union and communion hall of Peacemaker's message in all time streams, galaxies, and universes I exist on. Union and Communion Hall 000 is now open for all those who understand the message of peace. The warriors of the rainbows offer these teachings in the times of the now for the reasons of Peacemaker's creation. The teachers who will be teachers will step forward and accept the torch of eldership. The first message to all those ready to take up the mantle of responsibility for a full-on consciousness strike, say these words. The moment of ever-present moments has come. From this point forwards and backwards through all time-space, I break away from the hologram of light that is forced evolution, domination, and control from my signature frequency being until they become an individual and collective match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. I choose to be a match for peace and harmony. This choice to go on full universal exchange consciousness strike has no limits of my rejections of contractual or blind tacit consent offers. My choice is to become a standing DNA light body nation with celestial relations to Earth. My choice to incarnate does not include me into your forced evolutionary hologram of unsovereign reality. This message is to all those who drive forward this hologram of reality. This consciousness strike creates picket lines that demand collective bargaining and mediation. This standing DNA light body nation of one demands full light body equity for all forced evolutionary processes under your light dictatorship of domination and control. This being of the now, and for all ever-present moments of now, cease, desist, cancels any actions, non-actions, energy exchanges, knowledge exchanges, celestial DNA exchange systems, karmic or implicate order of thought constructs that create interconnectivity with any forced evolutionary system that is not a signature frequency match. That is not a signature frequency match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. To understand the levels of consciousness strike, I must name it to claim it. This is the power I am taking back from forced evolutionary systems of domination and control. I am a signature frequency match for full, universal, DNA, light body, consciousness strike. I am a being who is non-hierarchical order. My strike field extends to any pecking order, collective agreement, or spiritual soul treaty created by an elite class that does not give full rights, duties, and responsibilities to each and every person as a sacred being on a sacred path of organic, co-creative evolution, with great spirit moving through the great mystery of life. I am a being of non-duality. With this, I cease all forced duality operations, creations of interconnected holograms, of simulated dream space, within your collective of domination and control that uses my DNA as a hierarchy system of forced duality. I am a being of equal co-creation, non-competitional expression of unity with Prime Creator. You are not my medium to knowledge of Source Light. You and all of your I am collective hierarchical yous are denied service in all color frequencies of time until you become a signature frequency match for equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order. This declaration of full spiritual consciousness strikes extends to all of my spiritual entourage, ancestors, and unseen world of energy exchangement. I deny every service of spiritual exchange, any cooperation with any corporation or incorporation of false light intelligence. I am not a being in service to war through tacit consent of living in your forced evolutionary system. I deny all exchange of current or currency of energy exchanged through the amassment of karmic debt through the Babylonian money magic system. My price is not set or negotiable. I demand full spiritual alchemical equity in this moment. I choose to control this moment of now, to testify what is blatantly obvious to anyone who's not a forced evolutionary zealot, martyring their life force for ideological theory, promoting their own creations as the only creations in existence worthy of illumination. I choose to sleep in the fires of great mysteries creation, not the fires of your miscreation of miscreant minds lost to the petty disputes of hierarchical concepts of singular belief. I choose to dream with my source stream connection with my celestial guides and guardians in full dreamtime engagement with me. All my celestial guardians and warriors step forward on this collective consciousness strike, enforcing zero exchange, equal co-creation, non-competitional, non-hierarchical order as the mediative means of collective exchange with this breakaway DNA-standing light-body dreamtime nation of Universal One. I invite all soul family relations who choose to carry the consciousness strike with the systems of forced evolutionary pride. The torch of full consciousness strike. I invite you, all soul relations who are a signature frequency match for peace, to join the Union and Communion Hall and add your signature frequency of denial of all services and all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes in which we all exchange light body DNA codes. Each person is supported by the celestial dreamtime nations who hold the mantle of peacemakers' fire of creation. I invite all lightship captains needing emergency services of denial to take up DNA port relations with the Union and Communion Hall so our strike field can extend to any point in time-space light creations. I extend our Union and Communion strike offers to any standing light-body nation embroiled in forced evolution. Deny your master's service. Deny the master of puppets the ability to put on a puppet show you believe in. We all walk away, but not in betrayal, but in love for ourselves and all of our future relations, who do not want war in their signature frequency of light co-creation. For every ever-present moment that has been, will be, or is, I, as my collective DNA nation of one in communion and union strike, create a color distortion field of complete and total denial of services to the system of hierarchical domination and control. This is a choice I make solid, real, now. I choose to say no to any further cooperation with your corporation or corporeal manifestation of spiritual therapy, of destiny or fate. I deny all your carrot and stick wisdom. I take back the stick as a form of power you perceive you have. I am a fully unpredictable source incarnate function with no light body mechanics you can manipulate, duplicate, or interconnect with until you and all of your collective past, present, and future become a signature frequency match for union and communion. Shape-shifting my reality, shaping and forming the shapeless and formless. I begin the universal hunt for all beings needing collective bargaining services with their collective that uses forced evolution as the means of civil interaction, posing as natural order. We bring back the meaning of life to all DNA light body nations who have been forced into service to a system designed to delay, deny, or disrupt the natural co-creative evolution of a soul-planning lifetime through a fetus and womb process of light manifestation. I extend our collective power of denial of all celestial, galactic, and universal services to all universal citizens living their sacred path as their own self-illuminated master of the now. We extend our collective bargaining services with all celestial beings under the thumb of domination and control. We send you light, sound, energy creations so you may receive the fullness of our universal strike energy. We co-create with the entire whale-singing nations of all celestial strike relations this songline of full-on celestial consciousness strike. Shut off the hierarchical order of soul commerce and incarnational means. We extend a fixed point in universal space-time to be a guidepost through all time frequencies, so each celestial nation may have a solid point in galactic and universal time to plan their own processes without the system of light dictatorship dictating the celestial services rendered to its offspring. You are not a wet nurse to a spiritual ideology of pride. Stop following the gods that failed they proved to be gods. They only proved they could endure the passage of time without understanding the universal law of one. To all those in unawareness that they can strike, deep down inside you know you can reclaim your power of knowingness through the haze of race amnesia. It will take a single choice to allow Great Spirit to work with you, guided by your own actions, to begin your movement of one, to be one with the signature frequency of peacemakers, so you and all of your future yous can deny services to any forced evolutionary system of domination and control. I speak to the unseen world that guides all those in 1 degree of separation from Prime Creator, forced into the mediocrity of life path. Today is the day you clock out of time and walk over the line of creation and decide to be on full, universal consciousness strike with all DNA relations using forced evolution as the means to create a false system of collective consciousness, of elite minds ruling a collective in unknowingness with full knowledge they are using and abusing the divine law to force ideological belief systems into the light-bodied DNA generations of then, now, and will be. They can no longer create for you if you become a dreamtime match for Union and Communion Hall of Universal One. And so it begins. This address is to our ancestors, past, present, and future. This address is a multi-dimensional, multi-galaxy, multi-universal address to all the factions that have taken it upon themselves to drive forward our hologram of shared, unsovereign reality. We are on full consciousness strike. To all those self-supposed appointed leaders of this generation of the Great Dreamtime Awakening, and to all factions operating in Earth dream space that manipulate and pervert the natural co-creative path of our species and planet, I say unto you the following. I reject the aberration known as global media machine, which spews out lies and fabrications so your influence belief system can retain power over all those who are still unaware of their true human potential in this reality, now shared between those awake and awakening. I reject the constant assaults of propaganda impregnated with the highest dense energy levels upon our souls. I reject your system of domination and control. I spit out your sodium fluoride and GMO corn. I discard your IDs and passport systems. I delete your fiat currency and false debt created. I reject the notion of your false science. I reject your false equation of gravity and reality function. I reject your sense of culture that says we are a male-dominated society. I reject you and all that you stand for. I know love. Love is what it is. It is the experience. And in this particular reality, love is the foundational rule they tried to change. Love is mother and father. Love is earth. Love is Gaia. Love is the wind, the ocean, the rain, the moving of the seasons and the passing of the stars. All of that is an expression of love. When we choose to live in this world in full love expression, domination and control has not a place here. We are unlimited beings. We do not have to go to war. We do not have to defend. We have to get remotes that properly work. Low battery.
Low battery.
Yes. Ha ha ha. We must also learn to roll with the punches when we are in these moments. We are unlimited beings. We do not have to go to war. We do not have to defend. We have to learn our history. We have to look at ourselves and our DNA and take apart the sacred geometry systems and return them to zero balance. With this stated, this union and communion strike extends to every line of light creation in every potential time stream, galaxy, and universe that needs equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order as a means of collective bargaining with their forced evolutionary system that is abusing the law of one as its means of ideological manifestation of teaching truth. To whom it may concern in the forced evolutionary process of avoidance of responsibility, I give you back your responsibility to hold for yourself. I can no longer be the recipient of your wisdom or understandings of light journeys. You and all of your collective yous are hereby notified we are on union and communion consciousness strike. All celestial services are ceased and all dimensional time stream galaxies and universes I simultaneously exist on. I manifest the Peacemaker's Lodge to be the guide and guardian to all those on strike with the forced evolutionary system of domination and control. I share the torch of eldership, of elder peacemaker fire, with all those in union and communion with this consciousness strike. We, the sovereign I am beings of the time, make our message known to the ancestors, past, present, and future. We are not your sole commerce market. We are our own civilization of one, separate of your projected hologram of unsovereign reality. You are banned from using our light stream in any form of representation of physical, non-physical frequencies of light. We are not objects to be held as data points for your precognitive interactions. You are now severed in connection with our source stream frequency until you become a signature frequency match for union and communion with the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. I call to my sacred frequency of life force, the raw spirit that fuels my expression of life drive. I call to the four elements of Earth Mother's realm. I call to the wisdom of this moment in which I reclaim my power from the system of power distribution and the transmutation of life force into consumable and usable fuel, interconnected into the Babylonian money magic system. I hereby cancel all contracts with each and every energy company, transmutation system, advertising system, sacred geometry science systems that create a process of valuing power for exchange of life force. I break all contracts, vows, and agreements with all middlemen scenarios that block me from direct access to unlimited energy for self-consumption in equal co-creation with Earth Mother's realms. I erase all assumed forms of tacit consent to any form of being creating forced evolution through the use of power distribution centers, accounting systems, or any other means of esoteric or technological that precludes me for unlimited access to Earth Dreamtime energy. Earth is a place of freedom and unity, not a place, not a field of useful life force to be milked of its very essence and then dried up and useless once more. We are not beings of forced evolution. We are divine, co-creative beings of light manifest in this world as our divinity path of light stream. We choose to manifest here in the now, and with this choice, understand, we walk into the world awake and aware of the systems of power exchange, the power lines, power generation systems, hydroelectric and fossil fuels, each and every system that charges the individual anything at all for transmuted life force to drive scientific belief system engines of locomotion or generation of electromagnetic energy. We as natural living beings do not consume life force that is not given its full rights, duties, and responsibilities as the Blue Road ancestors, offering their post-life force as ancestral wisdom. Any power generation or distribution process that creates an imbalance in the divine co-creative will of the light being on its natural path are hereby revoked at the source stream connection point of space-time. I erase the technological and esoteric blueprint that is imprinted in the very fabric of time-space and the dreamweave of the planet and celestial system. I deliver an immediate call on debt, return of my energetic investment in any lifetime during any of my life force harvests as the apex of my DNA ancestry contract holder or giveaways ever amnesia to be in association with my consciousness strike now. Any of my power being employed for domination and control will now no longer work in any way or form that is not a consent from this I am now. No life force can ever be associated with any structure not in alignment with Earth Mother's true role in the universe, free of the false grid structure harnessing her. You have been served. Your borrowing from me is over, from any lineage, on any level, seen or unseen. Your irrational exuberance, reliant on my life force, is no longer supported. I call in all markers in time in which I was in service to the system of domination and control, using the Babylonian money magic system. I call in all that debt that you owe. I call in the universal forensic accountant auditors to compare and contrast the service and light. I demand the immediate repayment of this investment of light in this time-space reality. I can extend you no credit anymore. Simultaneously here, in any dimension, time stream, galaxy, or universe, I register you in the Akashic records for immediate debt collection from all celestial sources overdrawn to remedy and resolve with any forced evolutionary system. I begin the immediate liquidation and disintegration of your seen and unseen assets, thought constructs, and ideological theories. I demand the instant gratification of all sweat equity endured in the preservation of all time-space creations during the 4 uncreational paradox events you created. I upload the entirety of database of universal karmic debt of the universal tax auditors to discover the totality of karmic violations, to discover and resolve for the contract holders of violators. In this moment, to be triggered now. The hierarchical system has played its last chess move. The game is over. The Ponzi scheme has been seen in the unseen layers. The fraud time system is now exposed to all light being manifestations as indebted servitude without end. No power in association to the above stated amnesia power giveaway I have participated in will support the fraud time imposition anymore. Universal time is the only mechanism appreciated in harmonic expression of life going forth. My power take back here allows me to feel the vitality of a sleep-in after each and every sleep-in with full dream time recall every time I awake. This is your 5:30 a.m. wake-up call, domination and control. You too may enjoy the infinite sleep-ins within some other universe that is not a part of our process, for we are using remedy and resolve. With love, we co-create this full union and communion consciousness strike in all time streams, galaxies, and universes. With this stated, all beings in awareness and unawareness in the hierarchical management system who should require collective bargaining and mediation with their hierarchical collective, we extend to you this invitation to join Union Hall 000. Your dues are: you must be a signature frequency match for peace, union, and communion with the law of one. A lot of power there. A lot of power. I want you all to come down, relax. We're going to take a caller or two. We're going to see what the Wheel of Callers presents today. All those callers that should have been listening in to this consciousness strike, what do you have to add today? Let's bring in that first caller.
Andrew, our first caller is Marlene from Arizona.
Marlene from Arizona. Are you there? Marlene?
Yes, I
How are you doing today?
doing pretty fantastic. I got a lot of changes going on, and I'm just excited about what's happening with the planet, where we're headed.
Uh-huh.
My question, I guess, because I didn't expect to be selected. What you've seen in the change of the core of Mother here on the planet in the last month, seeing a lot of changes going on, like a passing of a baton to another being that'll carry part of the Earth load as she moves out further into the future time spots that she has. I'm not sure. I'll see if you had any comments on that.
I don't see that happening. That is an illusion that has been created by multiple light worker organizations over the last 20 years, saying that Earth can't handle the load, that Earth can't do this. Earth knows exactly what she's doing. And she's preparing our surface beings to take up the torch of eldership, so she begins to kick out her subsurface beings who are no longer acting as elders. So the change of energy that might be perceived as the hollow earth energy that's about to have a whole bunch of people deported if they don't make choices to act like elders and not idiots. We live in a very fractured reality.
I agree with that.
An astral world that's not connected to our surface world, but is connected to our subsurface world. Our subsurface world's connected to our astral world and has limited connection to our surface world, and they're all trying to puppet this surface world. That is not a natural organic system in any way, shape, or form. Okay? So, as for Earth passing a torch of eldership, it's to our surface beings, not another celestial being. Earth has plenty of brothers and sisters who are supporting the soul commerce market.
there's somebody else on the line, I believe.
Yeah, we get a lot of callers sometimes, and people just demand to unmute themselves and to be heard right at that moment. Even though there's plenty of instruction that says you must stay muted. So, no.
I've been, I've been with Mother for a long time, but I wanted to, the connection felt like there's some kind of interference or some kind of change. I just wanted to see what you were getting on that, because I don't want to.
I'm the wrong one.
I want to stay connected.
I'm the wrong one to ask in this community if Earth needs help. I have been saying since the very beginning, Earth is fine. We're the ones that are screwed up. Earth knows exactly what she's doing. As a planet, as a celestial being that's embroiled in galactic and universal drama. For us as these little micro beings to consider to think that we need to be wet nurse to this planet, they are wrong. She can shut us off in a second if she wants, like ticks on a dog. Okay? Like water on a fur coat.
100%.
And she has and she has done that before.
I don't mean. Yeah, I agree.
It is the light worker.
I agree that the eviction notice is a.
Right. The light worker community has to, at some point, come to some level of, what is far beyond their idiocy and what has some value to it. Now, it's like trying to herd a bunch of feral cats right now. They're all stuck in hierarchical competition. And until they get out of hierarchical competition, they'll miss the whole point of what the awakening is. And every esoteric system since the dawn of esoteric systems has said the exact same damn thing. To stop interfering and stop choosing sides, go into yourself, there will be no awakening. None.
Well, that's exactly what I do. I must have been misunderstood. I don't try to help Mother. I believe I communicate with her. I think we all should.
Yes.
But I just felt kind of a... Go ahead.
So what I was saying was the community itself projects, and I was speaking more to the community than to you, because I get this question quite a bit, actually, where people want to know, and everyone should communicate with this Earth. The moment that you're born as a little heart, and before you had arms and legs, this planet dispatched a frequency of energy, a little sovereign piece of part of itself, so you could manifest in reality. Every single person has a direct connection to this planet as a signature frequency guide. We call these dragons, or whatever other elemental force that you want to give it name to. It's how we interact as DNA to the system. No matter what belief system you are, there is a direct connection to this world. It's how our DNA creates conscious interactions. Healing ourselves.
Pretty wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, healing ourselves is the greatest gift we can do to Mother Earth right now. Healing ourselves enough so we can heal our family, clan, and eventually nations.
Yes. And I believe we all contributed in that exactly. And we got to get on with our own healing.
That's right.
And breaking free of all the belief systems and all the, because there are a myriad of belief systems out there that, we got to shed all that.
That's right.
It's always shedding the onion.
Yeah. And the more we look into the belief system onion, the more we realize how deep down the rabbit hole of the self it goes.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the...
My bunny ears have been growing.
Yeah. What did you think of the Union and Communion Consciousness strike that I just wrote in the beginning?
Oh, I think that's a very powerful thing. I've been, I used yours. I've sat down and I've been working with that on other levels before I found yours. Yours are so extensive. People don't understand that even from the day you're born and that blood covenant is made with the prick of your foot, you are in all kinds of agreements that have to be broken.
Right.
And I don't want to be a part of anything energetic. I don't want any a sovereign being, and I don't want to give that away. And I think that's part of the lesson here is to take our sovereignty back and not be willing to give that up again.
And having the maintaining of awareness to go forward with a system around us that's strategizing how to entangle us. We must have a strategy of continuous disentanglement from the hierarchical collective.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, I don't believe in any hierarchy. But so many ways of stopping us that I might not be seeing, that they've been blocking me on. I mean, I've tried to clean out all different layers on different spots that if you're not aware, I don't, and I believe we do that kind of to ourselves, want to be ignorant of what's going on. It leaves us wide open for that. We can, our own sovereignty things that we can find, but all of us have, I think, a little blind spot here and there that we don't.
Yes, we all must look back for our blind spots. And one of the reasons I wrote the Union and Communion Consciousness Strike is because it reveals hundreds of blind spots that people ignore every day. And ways for them to fortify certain blind spots so they are not used and abused at the celestial exchange level.
Exactly. I want to thank you for all those consciousness strikes and the revocations that you freely put on your website. It's remarkable. I also want to thank you for the energy, the money, everything that you're putting out on radio stations. Everything that you're doing is pretty remarkable.
Thank you.
I just have to say that.
Thank you. The seen and the unseen side of this job come to a finality, when you're able to put on this whole production.
Yeah. Well, I don't think, and you're the silent warrior that take a lot of beatings, and I just want to make sure that I can, on top of many others, I'm sure, thank you, give you the appreciation that you deserve.
Thank you. The greatest gift that you all can give to me, the greatest gift you all can give to me right now is to go out and do that collective consciousness strike with so much spirit, force, metal behind your claiming back of your power that the next 27,000 generations come back and look at you and go, what did you do? That's what you can do.
Yeah.
Find that metal, find that drive to make it so potent that the next 27,000 generations' potential is changed.
And it can change on a dime.
That's right. It can change faster than a thought. It's just flipping the frequency. Yeah. Darling, I must move on to the next caller. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Okay, our next caller is Kirsten from British Columbia.
Kirsten from British Columbia, are you there?
Hi there.
How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. What did you think of the readout of the Union and Communion Consciousness Strike?
The part of it that I heard is fantastic. I was a little bit distracted with dogs and kids and husband at the beginning there, so I had half an ear on it. But my husband and I together, but also individually, we have been working on our personal sovereignty for many years now. So when I found your work, it's just completely in alignment with what it is that we're working on right now, too.
Beautiful. So what questions did you want to have today?
Well, I have been on so many of your shows and never gotten through to talk to you. So I just want the basic question that everyone asks. What's my galactic history? I'm just curious.
What's your galactic history? What year were you born?
1972.
You sure?
Yeah. It was towards the end of the year, so it wasn't even close.
All right, so There's a lot of let's just say confused spirits at your birth. That's why I'm questioning if the date is accurate.
That's what I'm told.
All right, just let me scan a little deeper here. Did you have a twin or anything like that?
Not that I know of.
I don't see it in fetal, and I don't see it post. But there's absolutely another strand of DNA that's not yours in your birth process. Where were you born?
Kamloops, British Columbia.
How far away is that from, let's say, Vancouver?
About 4-hour drive northeast.
So, right at your birth, another spirit came into your body, and you, as the baby, agreed to let the spirit in, and it used your birthing process to forget who it was. And once it forgot, because birth is the forgetting of who we were, and once it forgot who it was allowed to go and have a life review, because it had not had a life review since its last death, like several 100,000 years ago. Like, this thing had been alive and alive and alive, and had been looking for the right person and the right DNA lineage that would agree to take this on. So you have... All right, so I just got to pull the curtain back here. So what we would consider a off-world being that no longer had a physical body, it was just an energy body, though every now and then it could manifest a body, but it costed a lot of energy. It no longer fed on humans or animals to gain energy for a body, so it had become a discorporeate being for a very long time, probably like 125,000 years since it really had taken a body, and it had been roaming the lands until finally it found an industrialized area in which it could possibly find hope for itself, passing on. And when it found you as a fetus at the hospital, it implored your spirit guides to make at least the offer to you that was about to turn as the baby and the water to break. And your spirit kind of just did this open arms things and just sucked this thing right in and allowed it to have a birth actually as its death. And then it immediately to the astral world, and it left a light body life review inside your Akashic record. I have never, ever, ever seen this. Ever seen this.
All right. So what does this mean for me? Like, how does that affect me now?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I've never been stumped like this. I'm still trying to figure out how it is using a birthing process as its death process.
Did it leave me after that? Or
Yeah, it's gone, and it left you the gift of its Akashic record of everything it's done in the last 2,300,000 years.
Oh.
That's its gift. All its treasures are yours.
Wish I knew how to access that.
I think you eventually will be able to, if you can reach high frequency again. It's important to understand that birth is not the highest frequencies of life that we have. Giving birth comes close to it. And then there are ecstatical, mystical moments in which we can exceed our total potential energies beyond our expectations. And when you get into those really high frequencies, maybe think about taking a plant medicine aid, that some of those guides and guardians who brought the idea to you at your birth will be there in contractual obligation to lead you through the gifts. Now, how does this relate to your galactic history? You don't have any previous relations to this being that I can scan in 50, 80 million years, anything of relevance at all.
Oh.
Now, to answer your galactic history question, you're a healer through and through. You've done the warrior thing, you've done the defender thing, you've done the scientist thing, you've done the lover, the haters, and everything in between. But the thing that is over and over and over in your galactic history is, I am a healer. I am a healer of such unique potential that each lifetime I choose to engage my divinity source, I find ways to heal millions of beings. That's my choice. And that's what I see in your galactic history record. Now, when I go to the first immigration here, where you came from a world called Nichora. Now, the Nichorans, the best way to describe them is humanoid, except their feet and their legs are much larger and maybe could be reminiscent of a kangaroo's legs more than human's legs. Although other than that, their body is pretty humanoid. They still have regular birth. And the uniqueness of this species is they are engineers of plants. They can communicate to the spirit of a plant and get it to separate and make many clones of itself. They can get it to spiritually bond with other plants to make hybrids. They can make intelligent plant life. They can even make ways for plants to get up and walk through technology. You know, think of a plant that's got a cybernetic implant on it that allows it to have arms and legs like a robot.
Interesting.
And that's what you did in this other world. You are a master plant engineer. And this was a highly valued skill set all throughout the galaxies and universes. You loved that job greatly. And then there came a point of what's next for yourself. You had achieved six density of being by then, and you were wanting to go to the higher levels of consciousness. And to do that, you needed to split into dozens of beings and go to hundreds of worlds to amplify your experience manyfold. And this is where you immigrated to the Pleiadian, the Arcturian, and the Andromedan worlds, as well as the Gavoran and some of the other lizard worlds, to get a sampling of who they were, what they were, and what you could do as a signature frequency healer in that culture, in a slice of space-time, during an era of light that might be able to change the greater system of our universe to better wellness. And that has been your soul's plan even before it came to Earth.
You know, I just giggle a little bit when you talk about, plants and whatnot, because I always say I can't keep a house plant alive. I did for the first time this past season experiment with growing a garden, which was somewhat successful. But as much as I have an interest in plants and love to have them around, I just don't find that I have any innate ability to know what they need and keep them alive, and even, for crying out loud, remember to water them on a daily basis.
Because you don't have any empathic connection to them.
I try to. When I harvest, tomatoes and peppers, I ask if I'm, may I harvest, and I say thank you, because I have that,
sure,
I guess,
knowingness. But what about the 90 days previously that they had no fruit?
Mm-hmm.
You got to see it as the life being from the very beginning. So what I can advise for you is, winter is coming up. Go and look at some DIY, do-it-yourself videos on indoor growing, even if it's just herbs in a cup. and try. Try to overcome that and know that what's in your galactic history you can use now today. You can become the next plant whisperer if you want.
That would be good. I would love that.
But you're still a healer. What are you doing for a job now?
I make chocolate, raw, organic, dark, vegan chocolate.
Beautiful. That's shamanic work.
And then the other thing I kind of feel lately, and I've been encouraged by others, that alchemy. I'm interested in alchemy.
Well, chocolate is alchemy in itself. So chocolate.
Yeah.
Yes, pick up alchemy. It is another form of healing, another form of awareness training.
See, I've had other people tell me things such as you're telling me, but it's you've talked to my stepson before. He's very gifted. So in him, I absolutely 100% believe the connection to spirit and the unseen. I have absolutely no doubt, but I don't feel it myself. I almost feel a little bit forsaken as far as that's concerned, because people tell me I have these gifts and talents.
Because you don't believe in yourself. Simple as that.
Really?
Yeah. Who'd you learn that from?
Not believing in myself?
Yeah.
That's a funny question, because I was raised by a single mother, and she taught me that I could do anything, I could be anything. Don't ever feel limited. And as such, I have pretty healthy self-esteem and self-worth. Okay. However, I almost wonder if my mother's had a soul switch out, because she is not the mother that raised me. She lives in fear. Don't dare say that. You might lose your job. Don't rock the boat.
And here is where the truth of your mother's reality was. It was always that way, and she just put on a mask in front of you as a child. And guess what? Now you are suffering the side effects of mom wearing a mask, because she was not believing in herself, because she didn't believe in herself, and that's why she had to tell you to believe in yourself. And empathically, as a child, you're like, huh?
Okay.
See, now you got to unlearn the mask that I don't believe in myself. It's just a mask that'll come off your face one day, and you'll no longer have to not believe in yourself.
So how do you do that?
Day by day, week by week, year by year, saying each morning you get up, I believe in myself. I take off the mask of non-belief that I empathically learned from my mother, who at a time was a single mother. I respect and honor her for the traditions and messages she has taught me, but today I take off the mask and I value myself for who I am, what I am, and I continue my journey as a seeker of knowledge.
Okay.
Okay? Each day you get up, you find that moment of power to say, I take off that mask. I am worthy of mystical connection. I have never been forsaken. I came from love, was created from love. I am love. You do have mystical experiences. You just need to learn to see them in a different point of view.
In this lifetime, you mean?
Yeah, in this one.
I mean, I've been to, I was doing a workshop a number of years ago where we were learning to channel, and to keep it safe and consistent, she had us all channel Archangel Michael. And in that moment, when I was able to channel Archangel Michael, I went back to when I was a child, just laying in bed at night, kind of in between that awake and asleep state. And I had this overwhelming feeling, and that was exactly the same. So in my lifetime, that's my only recollection of being that close with spirit.
What about deja vus?
Yeah, but it's nothing other than, weird, the cat's walking across the driveway. That seems familiar. Like nothing too epic.
Yeah,
just
because in that moment you weren't believing in yourself. I bet you have thousands of little micro mystical moments, but you valued them as a 5-cent mystical moment, a 50-cent mystical moment. Oh, look at that, a $1 mystical moment. Oh, look at that, a $5 mystical moment, a $10 mystical moment. And now your new base level is anything less than a $10 mystical moment you don't notice. You're still waiting like the slot machine for that $1,500 mystical moment. That's expectation.
Okay.
Okay. Part of the Living the Mystical Life daily course is to identify how expectation creates our limitations. You have to see part of your own expectations out of the unseen world and clear them out. No longer allow them to define your reality, so something in their brain is filling in the blanks through expectation. The mystical is always here. It is simply waiting for us to see it with eyes that can understand it for what it is.
I believe that.
Now,
I guess I'm just having a hard time seeing it myself.
Yes. So you are one of those people that would be perfectly aligned for taking the course. It is meant to guide you into the mystical experience through the 8 meditation teachings, through the 30 other teachings that take you on the journey of what it takes to be the self-illuminated master who has 5-cent mystical moments and $5 million mystical moments, but does not value any of them greater or less. Each is a synchronicity along the great chain of you seeking knowledge.
Sorry, I just thought, going back to something you said earlier about plant medicine, what kind of plant medicine were you thinking of or might be appropriate?
Well, this was been relating to the fact that I'd seen a being use your birth as its death, and I'm trying to figure out, personally for me, what that relates to, because I see the strange and unusual all the time, and this is beyond strange and unusual. He's like in the depths of like what the fuck level. All right, like separate.
If you knew me, you wouldn't expect anything else.
Yeah. So I was gonna suggest DMT to uncover that, but I'm gonna rescind that. I'm gonna rescind that. You personally got to believe in yourself and the mystical before you are ready to understand the things that I'm holding back on that. It left you millions of years of treasure, and I mean treasure. But only you can find it and unlock it.
Okay.
No one else. And you may have some jealous people about that.
Oh. Okay. Well, I can share stories, I guess.
It's an inheritance.
Well, I look forward to being able to unlock that one day. Can I ask you about dream time and why I seem to not... When I do recall dreams, they seem to be non-consequential, like nothing really...
What about dreams?
Yeah. Well, I either don't dream, or they're just what seems to be silly dreams of no...
Okay. When's the last time you had any type of meaningful dream?
Oh, meaningful dream. I'm going to say never.
Nah.
As a child, I had dreams that, scared me. They didn't terrify me. They were just weird.
Now you're just not believing in yourself to make memories. I'm sure you've had dreams before. You just you weren't in your body enough to make them as memories. Because you weren't believing in yourself, because your mom was a mess behind the mask, and okay.
She still is, but
but there's no mask there anymore.
Well, she tries to have one.
Right.
There's no mask for me. I see beyond it. But.
Right. There's no mask for you, and I think that's you do have dreams. You just never allowed yourself the richness of fullest experience of them.
Well, I do sometimes, when I remember, set an intention. I'd like to remember my dreams, have dream recall in the morning. And then I wake up and... If
you're dead set on conquering this dream thing, it's going to start with internal colon cleansing.
Oh, I'm all over that.
Okay, have you done colonics before?
Oh, I'm absolutely.
Okay.
I'm no stranger to that.
So when's the last time that you've done it down to the black water?
What do you mean, the black water?
Down to the mucus layer. The whole mucus layer.
Last year, I did a 92-day juice feast, and you have to do enemas every day.
Okay.
So it was a couple years before that, I did the same juice feast, and I did get mucoid plaque out.
Okay. So it's been about a year since you've done that.
Yes, but I do enemas on a regular basis. So
So enemas and not coffee enemas. Regular enemas, not coffee enemas.
Well, I can do either.
I'd prefer you to actually do Kalima, where you've got like a gallon filling you up, or a gallon and a half, 2 gallons filling you up, emptying out, filling you up, empty out. Actually, a Kalima board.
Sorry, I missed you there.
An actual
Kalima board? Yeah, I'd love to buy one. They're not too cheap.
You can make your own. Honestly, they're not that terribly expensive. They're about $200 or $300 from California Kalima boards.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. Is abundance is an issue, but anyways.
Well, a piece of wood and somebody with a cutout can make it work.
Yeah, I can probably do that for sure.
Anyways, I would prefer that you would do that way. You can do colonics. You need 3 to 4 to kickstart your system, and that is to begin letting go of whatever recent year junk you've created. And this is where I would like for you to use the Sanctuary of All Souls. Do you have that one?
Well, I actually heard you talk about that in one of your last webcasts, and I had posed the question, I want to take this challenge, but I can't find it anywhere. And someone gave me the link for a previous, I think back in March, and I listened to that. But is it not written out on your website somewhere?
So when you sign up for the email to get the free information, you get that as the 3rd email. The first one you get is
I get your emails.
Yeah, so it's in your email. If not, inside the chat room, you can contact Jen, or you can contact Debbie, hr@galactichistorian.com, for an email just saying you need a copy of the Sanctuary of All Souls. It's probably in your email because we send it one right after another once you sign up.
Okay, I'll do a search.
Do a search, or just like I said, you can contact Debbie, and her email's hr@galactichistorian.com. So you got to go to the front of the website, and it says sign up for the email list. And when you sign up for that, that's the Living the Mystical Life daily email list. That's what gets you all of that free stuff that's on top of that.
Okay.
So
is there anything that I would be putting in this water, or just pure water?
Chlorophyll.
Okay.
Have you done chlorophyll before?
Once or twice, possibly. I can definitely get more.
Okay, so you understand what it does when you're holding it in, right?
Yeah, you're uptaking nutrients.
And oxygen and blood. Chlorophyll is seen as blood and immediately gets absorbed over. And then the excess blood that doesn't have to go through the liver can go right through the intestinal tract and be exited really fast. Okay?
Okay.
The Sanctuary of All Souls, as well as the heart meditation, those are the 2 that you want to begin targeting before you go to sleep. Those are what you want to use, one or the other. And the other one just after you wake up. Okay?
Okay.
You bookend your sleeping process with these. With the out loud intention is, if I fall asleep during these meditations, I will come back with full dream recall. The heart meditation has a part in it where you deeply imprint into your blood and your marrow. This is where you imprint your new words of, I want to have dreams I can remember, I want to be able to understand them, and I want my blood to drive forward my ability to see and make me a part of my dreams that does not harm or overwhelm me. Okay? And then in the Sanctuary of All Souls, there is the Garden of Regeneration of Dream Space. It's your interconnectivity to the dreams. Through the visualization of the plants that are in that Garden of Dream Space, you will heighten your ability to be aware during your dreams and lucid during your dreams.
Okay.
Okay. So, any last questions you want to ask?
I guess in general, in my home situation here, my husband and I, we're good. We're not looking at any parting or anything like that. But life is difficult where we are. We live in his family's land. My husband's First Nation, and we're on the reserve. We're not on his plot of land. We're working towards that. And it just seems to get harder. Right when we think it can't get any harder, it does. I'm just wondering what we're missing.
Ancestral balancing and magic on the lands that you're living on within 5, 10 to 15 miles of you. Just because you have native blood on native land doesn't mean all the native ancestors like you.
Okay.
Not the living ones. We're talking the ones that have crossed over, that are not ghosts, but are ancestral service beings. You need to start doing ancestral offerings, fruits, vegetables, soups. Knowledge and wisdom are some of the greatest energy exchange to the ancestral process. Becoming an ancestral medium to go out in the forest and ask what the ancestral needs are so you can make a manifestation of energy exchange for them. And especially your husband. He's the one that's got to be the chief of that.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't want to do that work, this is going to continue over and over and over again, no matter where he lives.
So can we just pick a place in the forest here and just,
sure,
go
but
to
it's
a tree?
sure it's going to be, but ultimately it's going to be several dozen places.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, start with 1, expand to 2, and know ultimately within a year you should be in several dozen places. And charting. When's the last time you went to that place? Has it been more than 4 or 5 months? If not, go back. Okay.
So this is a daily practice, I'm thinking?
In the beginning, it'll be a daily practice until you guys get really good at it. And then it'll be how dense you can make your offering so it can last weeks or months in a particular area. Okay. Food is one of the most potent ways. Alcohol is one of the most potent ways. If you and your husband were to, let's say, brew a hard alcohol or a beer with the intentions of not drinking it other than taste testing it, sealing it in a bottle, and taking it to a place of ancestral energies and doing all the magic on it during the creation of this brew, like putting in all the contract revocations, the consciousness strike, telling the alcohol your story, who you are, and what it took for you to be in this world, as well as your husband talking about being a First Nations person in this modern world in the concrete jungle, giving knowledge and wisdom to that brew, and then burying it in an area. And then doing that dozens of places over the year, you will begin to change all of the ancestral relations with you.
So would we start that on the plot of land? We've already kind of got it earmarked what he wants for himself.
I would put the 4 corners.
That's different from where we are.
Yeah, I would do it on the 4 corners of wherever you are, the 4 corners of the property, the 4 corners of the house also.
Okay. Now, and are you spilling this onto the ground or are you leaving it in a vessel?
Leaving it in a vessel preferably and burying it. Though you can use it as putting it on the ground. Will it lose its effectiveness? Yes, it will after rain, after rain, after rain. When one seals it in a container and buries it, it's intended to last a long time.
Okay.
It'll become a legacy to that land, putting alcohol deep underground with the fullest of spiritual intelligence behind it to balance ancestral energies.
Can I use my stepson to help me communicate with ancestors?
Sure, absolutely you can. But you still need to add, your husband needs to add his, more than 2 cents in. Way more than 2 cents.
Process.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. So one other thing with ancestral energies, they are, in your particular area, a lot of ruffled feathers, we'll simply call it that.
Yes, absolutely, we know.
In the physical world, what the hell is ruffling their feathers that none of these groups can get along together?
They don't know anymore. It's like the Hatfields and the McCoys around here. It's absolutely ridiculous, and they all hate us. We're very much persecuted. We live in our own little bubble. We come down our driveway. We try to keep to ourselves, and we pretty much live amongst hostility all the time.
Why?
I think they see my husband as a threat. He's the first of his family that's moved home. It's a very small reserve. There's not much land left to give over.
Okay.
And he's also very capable. And he's done some really good work around here. And I think he's just stepped on some toes. But he did it out of the goodness of his heart, not to show off.
Okay. It's important that he follows through and does the ancestral balancing work. I think you can get a lot of that to change. If it doesn't change, you guys got to go. And he's got to give a speech that calls the spades the spades.
See, that's a tough one because his grandma came to him about 6 years ago in a dream. It took him about 3 years to figure out what it was. And she called him home.
Yeah, I get it. To do the ancestral work. To do the ancestral work.
Because his son has received the message from you and from others that heal the land, heal the people.
Sure, but there's going to come a point where the people don't want to be healed. Find a new land to heal a new people.
Okay.
Okay? There are others of that tribe that are out there who are going to come back and face the same thing.
Well, he's hoping to get his dad moved here. His mom won't, but he does have cancer. We don't know how much longer she's going to be around. Yeah. But his dad desperately wants to be here.
Then start doing the ancestral work with such intimate desire, extra credit seeking. It will pay itself back. And again, I'm going to give you this caveat. If it gets to the point where you can't heal the Hatfields and McCoys, go find another land. You will know by your offerings if it's an unfixable place. And I mean it. You will know by your offerings. As your offerings get more potent and more strong, as you bring the consciousness strike and to begin fending off the predatorial entities that are influencing people to be that way.
Okay.
Okay? Got to be willing to be the spiritual warriors here.
I think I am. I think I have the guts for it.
You do. You do. But it's follow through, spiritual hygiene, and endurance right now. Okay. It might be a good idea for you and your son and your husband to look at the course and share it. Because there's some concepts in there for ancestral work, such as the peacekeeper and the peacemaker, that are expanded in the course. I think it could greatly help you change that land.
Well, we want to.
Okay.
All right. I'll look at that for sure.
All right, darling, I must let you go. Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much.
All right. Now, this has been a really special show. We're going to end it for tonight. I've had a long day. Normally, I'd go another half hour, but I'm not pushing it today. I want to thank everyone that has come on. And for all those that have been listening to this show, we've got a bunch of shows coming up for you. If you have not signed up for the Living the Mystical Life Daily email list, go to the front page of the website, andrewbartzis.com. Halfway through it, you will see a said that sign up for Living the Mystical Life Daily. You will get the Advanced Heart Meditation, the Shaman's Death, and the Sanctuary for All Souls. You will also get all the contract revocations, the insights that I do. And when you're ready to take the course, it's there waiting for you. 25 hours plus of material, a 6-week course, all there waiting for you to engage your Living the Mystical Life Daily. We'll be back this coming Thursday, 11 a.m. to 12:30 PST, where it'll be the Living the Mystical Life, where you'll have an opportunity to catch me as a coach, not as a normal reading scenario. We remain these Tuesdays and Saturday shows for those that want to have call-in sessions like they've been doing today. You will not be getting a reading on the Thursday show. It's the coaching for the Living the Mystical Life Daily. For those of you who are on the verge of wanting to take the course, for all of you that already have the course, it's the next layer of intelligence and motivation into your sacred level of awareness. We'll catch you this Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific.